Hello there. Right, let's have a look at this Bitcoin business. Let's watch it fall to pieces together, shall we? Hello there. Right, let's have a look at this Bitcoin business. Get some tunes on while we're waiting. Oops. Right then. So, let's have a peep at Bitcoin then, shall we? So RSI is down. That's not looking good. MACD is coming down. That's not looking good. I don't know if you lot are into shorting stocks or coins, but I certainly think this is a good one to do. Not that I'm a financial advisor, certainly not a financial advisor, so I don't do what I think. I've had a short on this one since about 11,800. I actually held that one through the weekend, so it was a bit scary at times. But I was pretty confident that we were going to keep going down, and I'm pretty sure we're going to keep going down from here. Yeah, mate, you're right. Shorting Bitcoin is dangerous. I wouldn't normally short a Bitcoin, and to be honest with you, I'm gonna pull out probably when we get to about 9,500. I think I've got a stop. Yeah, well, I definitely do have a stop at that anyway. That's my target. So, and because I had a stop loss at 13,500, so if I lost out, I lost out. I've made it quite a nice amount on this ride up, so I'm prepared to take a hit if I have to. So the way it's looking right now, it looks to me like it needs to come down. Let's have a look at the 4 hour, shall we? Yeah, so the 4 hour. 4 hour. I mean, we're beneath all moving averages apart from this 200 DMA. We're finding bounces at the bottom of the Bollinger Band. It's going to have to break, I'm afraid. This would be knocked out. This is going to get knocked out. MACD's like it's not even looking like it even wants to curve up anytime soon. And yeah, the RSI it's down, it's poking up, which is causing this little bounce here. This bounce will be nothing. We're probably going to get rejected on this first here on the 7-day close. I'm pretty sure we'll get rejected there, if not rejected anytime soon. Yeah. I mean, Bitcoin obviously is the main one. I mean, I look at Bitcoin all the time because you have to, right? But I trade alts mainly, and my portfolio is mostly made out of alts. To be honest, I've got one. Well, I've sold it now, but I always like to have one Bitcoin traveling at any time. But it's all been sold. I've sold it all now, so it's all gone. The only things I'm holding at the moment is BitTorrent token and Matic, and that's it actually. My next little thing that I'm looking to buy is probably going to be Litecoin. Getting ready for the Harvard event. That's the next little tasty treat that I'll be buying of the top 10 alts. Anyway, top 10 coins. A lot of people are thinking Ripple's going to go up as well, but Ripple's so hard for me to chart. It's difficult for me to get my head around where Ripple's going to go. I mean, it's showing relative strength around where it is right now. And in all fairness, I'd be quite surprised to see it go down much further than it is. But we're going to have to see how far all the alts go when Bitcoin takes this next plunge down to 9,500 and maybe further. My short's going to be bailed out around this area here, 9,500. And then I'll be completely flat, really, apart from BitTorrent token and Matic. And the reason I'm holding loads of Matic, it's not that I expect it to go up massively at all, really. I just, I want. It's like an allocation I've made for myself for a long-term hold. I'm really looking to stake it, and I don't see it. I mean, it could go further down than 2 cents again, but I bought in at 1 cent and I bought in at 2 cent. So I'm holding quite a lot of Matic, really just for the staking purposes. But yeah, the next big thing is going to be Litecoin for me. Let's look at the 1 hour. Yeah, it seemed quite a nice bounce here, but I expect to be rejected at this point here, if not sooner. It looks like we're making quite a strong bounce. This is to be expected though. 10,000. If we make it down here, which we kind of did, we already made it down to 10,000. But making it down to that level there is a definite bounce and a scalp. But I'm more interested in holding my short really than scalping these ranges. I mean, I could do, but I'm not a full-time trader at all. To be honest with you, I like to play the medium to long game really because I'm a nurse, so I spend a lot of time working in a hospital. Well, I'm a psychiatric nurse really, so it's not as manic as running around as an actual registered nurse, but it's not really professional for me to be checking my phone all the time. You see, and because when I go on shift, a minimum shift for me is going to be 12 hours. So, I can't go scalping ranges and things like that. So on this, it does suggest that we're going to find a relatively decent bounce in the short term. Perhaps maybe even making it up to around this level, maybe even 10,800 before we start to fall back down again. I don't know what your thoughts are on this. If any of you guys are holding anything, or if you're scalping, or if you're shorting, or what, or if you're just playing it out, I don't know what your plans are for this, but it's going to be an interesting time. I can tell you that much. I mean, look at this for a chart. I mean, what a beast of a chart. To think that we're not going to make it any further down than 10,000 is pretty over optimistic. I would not be surprised if we didn't come back down to test these levels here, 8,800, and then if that breaks, 8,000 flat. There's no way we're getting back up there again anytime soon. Absolutely no chance. Yeah, so it looks like we're suffering some kind of rejections going on here already. Yeah, it's not going to work out well. Yeah, 10,000 on the cards in the next few hours. This time tomorrow, 10,000 is going to be hit again, easily. No problem. No problem. 10,000 will get hit, then I expect to see probably bounce at 9,800. Then back down to 9,500, then back down to flat 9. Yeah, pretty easy. So yeah, what are your plans then for these moves? Are you any of you guys short in this? So look at this 4 hour now. Yeah, not looking good. Not looking good. I mean, this chart is basically rolling over. I would not be surprised if we saw a move similar to this coming up now. Let's have a look. Top to bottom, 23%. So far, we've had not yet had a 30%. So really, there's plenty of space for it to move. I would expect to see. Let's have a little look at this. Get that and that. Yeah, 9,000 easily could be broken. It could easily get down to 900 easily. It's only a 35% move from the top to the bottom. And 35% is it's pretty normal for a Bitcoin, to be honest with you. I'm surprised we haven't seen that so far already. It would have been a much healthier move if we'd have had this sort of retracement earlier on, let's say around 8,000. If we'd had 35% retracement back then, a nice bit of consolidation, there'd be a lot more happier people. I bet there was a lot of people buying crazy up here. If I remember rightly, this was a couple of weekends ago. You know what the weekends are like. People are just going just silly with their money, just chucking their money away. I think this bounce is almost over now, to be honest. Have a little look at some other coins. See how they're getting on. I'll tell you who I'm interested in right now. I like a little bit of the old BitTorrent token. I'll check the US dollar BitTorrent token as well. Tether pairing. So this one's doing really well. This one's going to make a nice breakout back up again here, despite the Bitcoin coming down. Bitcoin comes back down again. It's only going to cause an alt season, and this is going to be one of the better alts because it's got such a small Satoshi value in comparison to its price. Plus, it's got a nice heavy volume pouring into it. Shouldn't be a problem for this one to make it up. And we can see that we're on the 4 hourly here. The 200 EMA is starting to bend up again. And when we saw a bend like this before, it was just here. And see that pivot? It didn't take much for it to do that. It didn't take much for it to bend like that. We're going to have another one of these again. We're above all the moving averages. This one's a really, really good one to have. This bounce is ripping right now. It's tearing it up. Really pushing hard, but it's not going to make it. Let's move down to let's have a little look at a 15-minute chart. See how it's looking here. So really trying hard, getting a rejection here at the 50-day close. If this breaks, we'll probably find our way back up a bit higher, but there's no chance. There's no chance we'll get any higher than this. There's no chance we'll see 11. No chance. I think this is as high as we're going to get. I think. Let's see how BitTorrent tokens do. So on the old tether pairing and Satoshi's moving on. We've got 14. We've got a long way to go, really, but realistically, it was worth a lot less back here than it is down here. What is worth 3 times more than it is here on its tether pairing than it was here. Satoshis are a lot harder to come by now with the Bitcoin price as it is. When we see moves like this on a coin with such small Satoshi pairing. I mean, these satoshis are really hard to come by. So we see one of these little ticks up here is going to cause perhaps maybe even a 5% move up here. And every time Bitcoin goes down, there's a chance that one of these satoshis will go up. Yeah. Nice rejection taking place here. On our way back down again. Let's have a look at some more. So even Matic's doing well out of this. My view on Matic is it's broken this trend line here, so it's got to make its way above the. It's got to stay above 190 satoshis to stay healthy. It's above most moving averages as we speak. We can break above this 200 EMA, stay above it. We should be in for a decent recovery with Matic, I think. It will be slow, but prosperous, I think. So definitely a nice bounce we've had here. A lot of this was on the back of the mainnet and the other announcements. A bit messy, a bit choppy. But that's all the Bitcoin scalping, I imagine, made it look like this. Bitcoin's made some pretty dramatic moves up and down. It's created a Satoshi value like this. Let's get back to Bitcoin and see what she's up to. She can't take the strain. She can't handle it. Go for a 1 minute. Let's have a little look at that. Yeah, coming down from the top of the Bollinger Band, finding a little bounce on the moving average here, but it's not going to make it. It's going to come back down. It's going to come back down to test this, and it's going to break this. Break this. Have a little bounce maybe on the 50-day close. Come back down again. Yeah, it's not going to even make it up here. Let's have a look to see who's doing well out of this at the moment. Wow, that's a big move. Very big move. Lots of money coming in here. Big rejection. So that's an interesting one. Yeah, hello. Basic attention token, not too bad. This coin's been suffering of recent, so this one might be starting its alt season early. Final rejection here, but Not too bad. Not. This is the one though. I'm telling you, this is the beast. I've got high hopes for this baby. High hopes. Oh, look at that. This is only on the hourly, but that moving average, that 200 EMA has already made its bend. And look what happens when we make a bend. This remains a support. We are in for a treat. We'll be riding this one all the way back up to our previous highs. 22 Satoshis, 0.0018 USDT. That's how I see this one going. This is one of the coins I'm most heavily invested in, to be honest with you. So I hold a little bit of bias for it, but I have been watching it for a long time now. And I do expect to see some decent moves on this one. So how's Bitcoin doing? Not too well. So yeah, couldn't even make it up to here. Let's see how it plays out in this next hourly. Let's check the 4 hourly again. Right down at the bottom. Not even beginning to touch. We're finding rejections here. Obviously, it's 10,000. 10,000. It's a psychological number. It's not a realistic number. It's going to break. It's definitely going to break, and I imagine we'll find a little bounce here around 9,700, maybe 9,800. It's not going to hold it for long. I can't put my finger on time frame, but the way that this chart's looking now is it's rolling over. It's rolling over. These buybacks, these scalps that people are making are kind of, I wouldn't say they're pathetic, but it's a vain attempt to try and get some gains when you've got so much to lose. The risk and reward is no good here for scalping. It's not a scalping range. You've got to be pretty brave to be getting in here. Like I say, I'm holding a short, to be honest with you, and it's not very often I short. And if I do short, it's usually in a bear market, never really in a situation like this. Wouldn't really ever really short against Bitcoin in a situation normally, but this has been in the pipeline for a while. We're just under 30% consolidation from top to bottom here. It's not exactly best measurement I've ever made. But yeah, if we were to go 35%, that'll bring us down to 9K. So you're right. So you think 9,000 is that your lowest point then, mate? Because to be honest with you, if 9,000, if it can get to 9,000, it can go to 850, and if it can go to 850, it can go to 8. It's going to be a really interesting time to see how this one plays out. I'm actually really looking forward to it. I don't know if you tuned in from the start, but I've sold all my Bitcoin. The only things I'm holding now are BitTorrent token and Matic, and I'm only holding Matic not because I expect a big bump or anything. I just bagged up a load quite cheap, and I'm holding it for a long-term purpose, for staking. But BitTorrent token, I expect to see a really decent bounce, one of the better bounces of the alts, to be honest with you. So I do have quite a big bag of that. The next thing I'll probably be buying before I buy my Bitcoins back is probably some Litecoin, with that halving event coming up on the horizon now. That's what I'll be looking to pick up next. And the halving event's probably it's under 6 weeks from now. So I'm going to wait to see how these bottom out. Litecoin specifically. In fact, I'm just going to have a quick look at Litecoin to see how that's getting on the tether pairing. So I want to see a little bit of suffering here, to be honest with you. I want to see this come back down a little further. It's holding up. It's falling quite dramatically. It is holding up quite well. I wanted it to get to below 100, but it would appear to me that the halving event's already priced into this baby. So I think that's holding it up more than it would have done without that coming up. I'd like to see it get down to maybe 112. Definitely look at buying it around that area, even if it's got a little further to go. To me, it looks like it wants to recover. It wants to start its alt season early. So we'll look at the longer time frames. EOS, yeah, that is an interesting one. I did a video on that for as a request somebody earlier actually. Let's have a look. So I remember last time I saw it, the tether pairing was being demolished actually, but and the Bitcoin pair was also pretty bad, but the Bitcoin pair was right down at its bottom Satoshi level. So it was. I wanted to see how this one was going to play out. I think it's still got a little further to go, but yeah, actually, look, I've already got my support line in there, and we've made a bounce from it. So realistically, this coin could be a good one to pick up as well as Litecoin on the 4 hour here. So yeah, I mean, this was our lowest support for the Satoshi value here, and that was all the way back here last year, December. We haven't been down that low since. We came down that low just recently. We found a bounce. So the problem with this coin is that it does seem to amplify Bitcoin, Bitcoin's moves. You can see that definitely when you see the tether pairing. I mean, it's suffered. It's suffered bad. We'll look a bit closer. Yeah, it's suffered bad on its value, but it's finding a bounce. I mean, it had a really good run up here. Really good run. I was thinking my first support would have been down at yeah, I mean down here really. That's $5.77. It's found a bounce there. I think when Bitcoin comes down, which it will, I think we're going to find ourselves coming down with it. So I'll just pop these little. That's a significant support there. Next level of support. Let's have a think. Well, I mean, we could start to see one around here. That would be a nice buy, to be honest with you. I think it could get brought down as low as that if this area breaks. Let's have a look at the longer time frames. The daily. Yeah, it depends how far Bitcoin falls. Bitcoin falls down to 9,000. I think it's realistic to say that it would come down this far. I'll probably test this 200 EMA. So maybe that's a bit over optimistic, considering it's bottoming out at its Satoshi value right now. Maybe it'll hold its value more the lower Bitcoin gets. Be an interesting one to see. So if Bitcoin falls, let's say to 9,000, currently when we watch the tether pairing between these two guys, they fall at the same rate. But if Bitcoin, let's just say Bitcoin falls another 10%, and EOS falls, let's just say half the amount of that, 5%, in this next big pullback that we get, if we break 10,000, if the tether pairing with EOS is less, let's just say half, let's say half the amount that Bitcoin falls, and we rest down at that Satoshi value, back down here again, then I would consider buying this. I'm not a financial advisor, obviously. Yeah, absolutely. We've got to wait for this to play out before anyone decides to buy anything. Like I say, the only thing I'm invested in is Matic and Bitcoin. Not Bitcoin. BitTorrent token. And for the same reason, BitTorrent token's bottomed out really with its Satoshi value, and actually it's started to make a decent move. But also with BitTorrent token, it looks to me like it's ready for recovery. If we look at these, for instance, let's have a look at this. So I don't know if you know about how the 200 EMA generally works, but it maps a trend. And this trend, obviously we're on the 4 hourly here, but this trend is bearish because we're underneath it. We're not coming up anywhere near to test it. And it's also bending down. Until this starts to bend up, that would be a decent signal for us. All this, MACD states that, yeah, we've got buying signals here. we're getting it's buying signals anyway with these two indicators, definitely. But it's only buying for scalping. I wouldn't buy it now. No, I'd wait for this Bitcoin business to play out over the next few days or weeks, maybe, because EOS is certainly being amplified by it, and so is BitTorrent token, to be honest with you. But I bought in on BitTorrent token just last week at around just short of 0.0012. So I'm okay. And the reason I did that, well, you can watch my videos. I make videos on that coin frequently anyway. But you'd see on that I was trying to get in there as early as possible because I felt like the trend was about to change. When I could show you, actually, get out of EOS for a second. Makes more sense to look at it on the Bitcoin chart. Because the Satoshi value is so small with the BitTorrent token, every little move is, one Satoshi is well, we're at 13 now, so one Satoshi is about, that's going to be 7% gains there, 6% gains here, 5% gains there, and that would reflect, not exactly, but it would reflect on the US dollar and the tether pairing. So it's just starting to do it now on the 4 hourly, which is better. But on the 1 hourly, you can really see what I was talking about. So yeah, we're underneath this 200 EMA the whole way, trending with the moving averages. And bear in mind, our Satoshi value is we're in double digits. It's tiny. It's really, really small. Single digits down here. And we've been here before, but this was back then. And we've been right up here as well before. But the value of a BitTorrent token there was tiny in comparison to what it is here. So you have to try and sort of digest that information, try and work that one out, what that actually means. What it means is that back here, Bitcoin was worth less and BitTorrent was worth less. A Satoshi value, when both coins are worth less, and these moves were making bigger gains, means that these Satoshis were easier to achieve. We're in a downward trend here, and this is where we reached our peak on the tether pairing. But if we will go back here, where we were last time we were there, the price of a BitTorrent token was it was like 3 times less than it was here. So what I'm trying to get at here now is that each one of these Satoshis is a lot harder to achieve. So moving up these would cause much bigger gains on a tether pairing. All right. Well, this is BitTorrent token, BTT. This is one of my favorite coins of recent times. This is the one I expect to see probably one of the biggest gainers in the next week or so. So and to be honest with you, the indication for me is already here. This 200 EMA, we've been trending beneath it. It's been bouncing underneath it, and the 200 EMA dictates a trend. Not so much dictates it, but it's a good indicator of a trend. So this has been a bearish trend, and for Satoshi, and that's basically because Bitcoin has been moving up much faster than BitTorrent token. In fact, BitTorrent token has remained static. If you look at it on the tether chart, which I'll get up now, you'll see that it's kind of just been sideways. I've got all the little silly supports in here now, but yeah, it's been trending sideways. So you can see that there are similarities when you look at the chart, but realistically, they are very different. But the reason I look at the Satoshi value on this one more than I would look on the tether value is because I believe that the trend here now is certainly going to move back up to here, and beyond. And the interesting thing is, when the Satoshi level reaches here, it'll be worth way more than it is here, because when we were back here, this is when it was this area here, exactly this area, this downfall here was created the first time that Bitcoin tried to make it up to 9,000, and this is the first time it touched 9,000, and it broke down from there, and then that sparked a big rally with Bitcoin, and all the money was being taken out of the alts, and that alongside Bitcoin moving up so fast and money being drained out of alts, especially coins like this, basically meant that we fell down. You can see that here also on the tether, on the Bitcoin and BitTorrent chart. So it's like there's two elements that come into play which cause a bear trend like this. But now we found a nice little peak up. It would suggest that this here is going to continue up again. If we can stay underneath it, it's very early still. We're only on an hourly chart here. If we move to the 4 hourly, which has a bit more relevance to it, we've only just started to make that that transition with a trend. But the trend will change. It's changing now. And the lower Bitcoin goes, the higher these Satoshis and the easier these Satoshis are to achieve. Oh, it is there, mate. It definitely is there, BTT to USD. This is what I'm looking at. We're on Binance here. But yeah, this is it, and this is my thinking. This is my reasoning. So it's one of the coins one of the two coins I'm still invested in. Everything else I'm sold on flat. But this one I expect to see a decent bounce, and then the next thing I'll be buying once the dust has settled will be Litecoins ready for that halving event. That halving event should play some decent gains. Yeah, I don't know if you looked into it or anything, but the last time a halving event took place for Litecoin, it actually went up 400% as a result of the halving event taking place. So I can't say, no one knows if it'll do it again, but I expect to see similar gains. The way I look at it, it's like if you imagine, it's about creating scarcity. It's about there's less rewards, obviously, for mining those Litecoins, but and it's actually obviously slashed in half. So if you imagine all the world's oil fields, and then one day, overnight, half of them aren't able to drill for oil anymore, what that would do for the price of oil, it's kind of the same kind of analogy, but that's how I look at it. And realistically, that's how it will play out. It will play out similar to that, creating more scarcity, more value. I'd be very surprised if it didn't go up more than 100% within a couple of months of the halving event. I'm looking to, I imagine at least 200 to 300%. Last time was 400%. By the end of this year, we'll have a Litecoin easily worth $350. We're currently trading at around $120. So you're not keen on this BitTorrent token, then? No, it's not for you. That's fine. I'm just telling you what I'm doing and my reasoning behind it. The proof will be in the pudding. Hopefully, I'm not wrong, because I do have a fair bit of money riding on this one. But look at this for 4 hourly tether pairing. We're moving alongside Bitcoin now. We are moving with Bitcoin's moves. So this little pump here is a Bitcoin move. My rule of thumb is these two levels here are resistance and support. So we are now currently above them. I would very much like this 0.0014 to become our support. But if Bitcoin continues to fall, it's likely to break down. Our next level of support will be here, 0.00135. But now again, we're above all the moving averages on here on the 4 hourly chart. It's such a young coin that a daily chart doesn't really do it much justice. But even if we look at that, we're still trending above all the moving averages still. Broke this Bollinger Band, and we've come back to be within that range. Who, me, believe in Matic? Oh, I certainly do believe in Matic. I don't know how when you join the chat, but I've got 2 coins that I've sold flat. I'm completely out of everything. The only 2 coins that I do have is that I've got a bag of BitTorrent token and a bag of Matic. And the only reason I'm holding on to the Matic is because I bought it relatively early, so I'm not really stressed out about it losing its values because I'm still within profit. And I've got some theories about the way that Matic's going to go in the next few years. That I'm just going to hold on to those coins regardless and stake them. To be honest, I really want to stake them, so I'm not letting them go. I'm not letting them go, and I'm not going to mess around trading with them just in case something comes out of the woodwork one day where it just causes it to move. One thing I've been thinking about is obviously they're working on it alongside the Ethereum blockchain. That's their thing. That's their thing currently, but they are looking to adapt it to other blockchains. And there's one big blockchain that is going to be coming out next year that, from what I can see, would need a lot of scaling, and that would be the Libra. If someone's going to get that deal, someone will get that deal. Someone is going to be partnered with Libra, and it will be a scaling solution. It depends who it's going to be. So it's like a lottery. Who's it going to be? But who appears currently to be the leader and the most effective scaling solution out there? There are a handful of them, but the most prominent, I believe, now is Matic. Now they've released their mainnet and they're starting to build on their clients. It's going to be a matter of them proving to everybody that they can do it correctly and they can do it efficiently. But Libra is going to need some scaling, I can tell you. Yeah, the Facebook coin. Yeah. Now look, I did get in there early, but I'm not one of those 10xers. I wasn't in there that early. I got my first little bag of Matic at 1.1 cent. So let's not go crazy. And then I rebought more at 2 cents. So I'm only just about, I'm only just about in profit on my second bag. I wish I'd have got in there really early, believe me. But I got in there early enough to not have been stressed out when it all came tumbling down. But it had to come down. There's no way a coin like that can continue like that. There's no chance. But why do you think that Matic did that move in the first place? I think it's because people know, or the right people knew, what's happening with it. There's a lot of it was FOMO. Don't get me wrong. It was FOMO all over the place. Yeah, well, if you ever look at Matic's employees, the main members of the team, they've got some interesting people there. The guy who has previously worked with Coinbase, now it's not clear if he still works with them. He worked on the Coinbase wallet, and he's also doing the Matic wallet. And Matic got seed investment funds, didn't they, from Coinbase? And everybody's going crazy, saying, "Where's this Coinbase? We want Matic on Coinbase." I doubt we'll see Matic on Coinbase anytime soon, but the fact that they've got such close ties to each other would suggest that there will be a Coinbase listing at some point. But I think it'd be a little early to imagine them being listed anytime soon. It would be a game changer, though. The more I think about it, because a lot of the time when I think about coins being added to Coinbase, when you saw what happened to Ripple when Ripple got added to Coinbase, it didn't really do a great deal for it, and that was supposed to be a big deal. It didn't really do much for it. But I think if Matic were to be added, let's just say we woke up in the morning and Matic was added to Coinbase, I think it would give it a big lift. And there's 2 reasons I think that. One reason is that, first of all, the US customers aren't able to purchase Matic on Binance. They can still buy Matic, obviously, but it's not as accessible to them as it was or as it is now. So that would be fine. People could buy their Matic there. And as far as coins go, it would be one of the cheapest ones for people to buy. And that I believe has a psychological component to it where people think, well, buy that because it's cheap. I can get a lot of these. There's a lot of people out there probably getting into the crypto industry, but they're just getting in there now. They're probably quite naive, thinking that I can buy 100 Matic and they could go to the price of a Bitcoin. There are people out there like that, surprisingly, but there's quite a lot of people that might think like that, and they'll think, oh, I'll spend this on Matic and it will do well for itself. Don't get me wrong, 100 Matic, that my minimum target for Matic would be at $1, in a couple of years, and that would be a big deal too. But if it gets that Libra deal, we're talking $3-4, maybe even more. It depends if it were to happen. Really, we'll have to see how it goes. It's all about the use case. But I can't tell you what to do with your money. Where did you buy in? Are you at a loss then? Did you buy towards the top? Because it's your money. But if I were you, and if I were anybody, if I bought something in the market we're in now, which is clearly bullish, despite these pullbacks that we're all suffering at the moment, a coin like Matic, okay, yeah, so you bought near the top. If I'd have bought near the top, around 4 cent, I wouldn't worry too much. You're just gonna have to ride it out. The fact that it made it to 4 cent so quickly anyway would suggest to me that you're probably gonna have to wait quite a few months, to be honest with you, before we get back up there. I can't give you a time frame on it. We'll bring the Matic chart up now, shall we? Let's have a little look at Matic. It is one of my favourite coins. If you watch my videos, I make Matic videos daily, so I'm quite involved with Matic. So this is the tether pairing. So to be honest with you, it's we had this big move here because we had those mainnet releases and other news which caused it to pump. And this is the problem with Matic. There's a lot of people jumping on it because it makes big moves. So there was a lot of anticipation because the dates are out there. The 30th, everyone knew there was going to be things coming out. So this was an anticipated move, which has its own issues. Obviously, it's good because there's volume entering the market, people are buying it, and then there's obviously going to be a lot of people selling it. So this was just a big trade setup, really. People knew something was going to happen. He didn't even know. He didn't really care what the company's doing. And to be honest with you, just releasing mainnet and some dApps to it isn't really enough for a coin to hold its value. What will make a big difference for a coin like Matic is when its token is being used for its required purpose. It needs its use case. It needs those tokens to be floating around within the side chain, doing their job, and it needs people to be holding and validating those payments through proof of stake. So that's like an incentive for people to hold the coins. It's like you hold these coins, we'll give you interest. Don't trade them, buy them, keep them, hold them. We'll see less moves like this at that point. We'll see more moves going up and less moves coming down. We'll always have this in all crypto. We're always going to have this, but it won't be as ridiculous as this. I mean, we've pretty much wiped out most of the gains that we had from the beginning of that, and we're resting now upon the 200 EMA, which is often turns to a support, but we're not clearly above it, and the trend has started to level out again now. It looks great to start with, but a move so sharp is always going to have a fallback like that. These yellow lines I've got in here are support and resistances that I've put in because I look at Matic so frequently that I just have these in for point of reference. But yeah, this is our 2 cent mark. It's quite an important resistance when you look at the tether pair in there. But if we go to the Bitcoin pair, it's not as choppy. It's a little neater. We'll have a look at that. See if we can make heads or tails of that. So yeah, if we have a look here, I put this this big red line here was the trend we were stuck in. We're stuck in a really big downwards trend. Pretty nasty, to be honest with you. And I said on my video that this is our bottomed out area for BitTorrent. And sorry, I don't want to talk about. It's late. Sorry, I've been at work. I work long shifts in psychiatric nurse. So anyway, we bottomed out here, and my theory was that we were going to, by the 8th, we would know one way or another if we're going to collapse or if we're going to break the trend. We have broken the trend, and it looks a little bit more positive when you look at it on the Bitcoin pairing. And that's because Matic made a big move, and also it's not falling as far and as fast. It is falling. We can clearly see that it's falling here, but it's not falling at the same speed as Bitcoin, which means that our Satoshi value is actually remaining relatively high, which is also good, because a lot of these coins mean more when you look at the Satoshi value than you do at the Tether pairing. Tether is important because we cash out in Tether. You can cash out in Bitcoin, obviously, but you can cash out in Tether, and it's easier to keep track of how much money you've got. But realistically, we need to be moving against Bitcoin really for it to make a big difference. And the good news is we broke this downwards trend, and now we're going to start a new trend. So we're on a 4-hourly chart here. If we go to the 1-hourly, it might give us a little indication of where it's likely to go. So yeah, what we see now is we see this little bend here of the 200 EMA. It means that the trend has begun to change. The trend here, the 200 EMA is it's a very strong indicator of a trend, and now the trend has begun to change. And so long as we can start to move upwards, and this is also related to Bitcoin falling. Bitcoin needs to fall, and it needs to fall faster than the Matic will fall. Then our Satoshi value will increase, even if Matic's value stays the same. If that makes sense to you. So it's still good news, even though we've come right back down on the Tether pairing. It's still very good news for Matic. I'll stick a little thing in here for point of reference, but 190 Satoshis. If we fall below 190 Satoshis, we might be in trouble. So Bitcoin consolidating now is very good for Matic. And Matic might begin to pump in the alt season as a result of staying above that 190 Satoshis. Oh, I've lost you, have I? Yeah, I ramble and I don't make much sense. I've seen your last comment. Yeah, it's not that I know a lot. I know enough. I know enough about some coins. I've been trading. I used to trade things like commodities, like oil and gold and silver years ago, part time. Just for fun. And I like a strategy. I'm one of them people that I enjoy a strategy, and I've got a lot of patience. You see, so I found myself kind of getting a little addicted to planning things out. But when I don't know if you've ever done CFD trading, but it's very risky. You've got to you can lose all your money. So, and one thing I noticed as well is that you can't have too much of a broad spectrum. If you really want to know as much as you can possibly know about something, you really have to sort of be streamlined and pick a handful of things and try and learn about those things as much as possible, and not branch out into too many areas, because there's enough to think about anyway. Even if you're just trading solely Bitcoin, there's enough to know about. There's enough to know about. There's too much going on. So yeah, so I used to do that, and then beginning of 2017, Bitcoin turned up, on my CFD trading platform. I started trading that, and then it just suddenly dawned on me that what's the point of doing this CFD trading when I can simply, it's easy just to buy some Bitcoin and hold it that way. That way I eliminate the risk of losing everything altogether. and that was the beginning of it, really. Trading platforms, exchanges like Binance weren't around then, and that's really how I got into it. I held some Bitcoin, I transferred that to Ripple, and I made quite a nice amount of money out of it. To be honest, it was a lot of it was luck, but it was enough to spark my interest, and so I got away from all that CFD trading. I only ever use it to short things now. I'm shorting Bitcoin at the moment, but I rarely do anything like that. I mainly just work on exchanges now. Oh dear, so you sold it. Never mind, never mind. There's plenty of opportunity out there. You know, if you believe in the 4-year Bitcoin cycle, and if you believe in that, and I kind of do believe in it myself, then there's going to be plenty more opportunity to pick up where you left off. Like I say, the next thing on my radar to buy is Litecoin. When when the dust settles with Bitcoin falling, which it's holding up quite well, to be honest with you, but it's going to come down. But when all this finishes at some point this week, the next coin I'll be looking at buying is a Litecoin for that halving event. That is going to be a real treat. I wouldn't want to miss out on that. So yeah, I'm pretty much flat, and when I get back in, I'm getting back into Litecoin, and then when that's likely to do a nice bull run. Might even start. We may even see some kind of parabolic move with Litecoin, and then I'm not going to get too greedy. I will sell. I'm not going to hold that. I will sell it on that parabolic move, but yeah, I'm getting ready for that. Oh, yeah, Kevin. So I'm catching up on these messages quite slowly. So yeah, no, you're right. So what are we on here? We're on the Matic BitTorrent. So Bitcoin. We have to look at these really together. I mean, they both hold some relevance, definitely, because people trade differently. But the 2 cent is going to be tested. It's already been tested here on the hourly chart here. It's already been tested, and it will probably be tested again and again because we're being brought down with Bitcoin. It's going to be brought down. It'll probably even break the 2 cent and go beneath the 2 cent again when Bitcoin falls. And Bitcoin is going to fall. So yeah, that 2 cent mark on the tether pairing is going to be tested again, and that should cause a bounce as well because people will be buying it back at that level. But the ultimate test is the Satoshi, and we've got these supports in here. This isn't really a support. This is what I would consider a problem for Matic. If it breaks beneath here, the 190 Satoshis, that becomes a problem. And if it breaks beneath that, then we'll start to see this 200 EMA bend down again, and then we might start a new bear trend for Matic. Matic is a really sensitive coin, you know. It's very sensitive, and it's sensitive to all kinds of factors. It's very risky at the moment, you know. For the long run, for the long term, I'm pretty sure this is one of those coins that's going to be a treat. It's going to be a really good coin to hold for the long term. So I'm not too stressed out about it. I made a video ages ago, and it was really about the first time I made a big purchase of crypto, and it was early 2017, and I took a risk on XRP, and at the time, when I was looking at it, I was thinking, wow, because back then it was going from as little as something like sometimes it was like half a cent to as much as 3 cents, and it was fluttering in that range. It was floating within that range. So I bought it just beneath 2 cents, thinking I could double my money and I'll be happy with that. and then it went down, and I halved my money. And at some points, I was lower than half, and I was really getting worried. I was thinking, what have I done? I've all these profits I've made of trading over these last few years. I've just lost. I've made a bad decision, and then eventually broke even, and then I started to make money, and then it doubled. But then when it doubled, it started to go up even more, and it started to go up more and more. And I was thinking, well, actually, it's one of those psychological things. I mean, your greed takes over from your judgment. You just think, oh, just a little more, just a little more, just a little more. And it got to the point where I was so much in profit that I actually thought, I'm just going to leave it now. I don't actually care. And in all fairness, it wasn't as easy as it was now. I wasn't on Binance or anything like that, so I couldn't just. I could just sell it, but it wasn't as easy as just pressing a button. And then I did finally add it to Binance eventually. But at that point, I was so well in profit that I wasn't really stressing out or anything like that. I was quite happy about it. And then it just went completely crazy, and I was just very lucky. I was very lucky, and it's in a way, it's that I'm kind of feeling the same way with Matic. I'm a little bit in profit now. I don't mind being out of profit for a little while, because not that Matic is any way like XRP, but it does have the potential to make big moves like that, and given the nature of Matic network. Matic's in its infancy at the moment, so it's barely got started. It's not even. It's really just not. It's not even operational, really. I mean, it is, but it's 2 steps into its mile-long run. Do you know what I mean? So we've got a long time for it to move, and when it does move, it wouldn't surprise me when we see things like Chainlink moving, because of the partnerships it's making. Chainlink's been around for a while. It's been around for quite a long time. Matic's not been around for hardly any time. But those moves are, in my view, in the pipeline for Matic. Those moves will be made by Matic. Just not yet. We've got quite a long way to go. But when we see it, we'll see it. And in the back of my head, I kind of think that Matic's. Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's the Libra coin. If you've watched, I've mentioned it a few times, but when you look at Libra's technology, Libra is going to need some scaling. Okay, and it'll need scaling probably even more than Matic can offer it at the moment. Can you imagine everybody on Facebook having access to the Libra coin? And that Libra coin is being thrown about left, right, and centre. Libra stated that it could only support 10,000 transactions a second at its current state. Now, Libra could easily come out with their own scaling solution. It's not like they've not got enough money backing them. But if there's a scaling solution out there that's already offering that technology, then why not just use them? Matic could be that company that makes that deal. And can you imagine what that would do for Matic? Matic's capable of doing, I think, 65,000 payments per second, which is obviously a hell of a lot. So, I mean, you scale that on top of the 10,000 that's already possible with the Libra coin. We're getting close to what would be needed to support something as grand as Libra in its use case. So I don't know how many people are on Facebook now, but I think it's close to 3 billion. So there'll be a lot of transactions and needing to be confirmed relatively fast. So yeah, it'll need scaling. Matic could be the one. So that deal would be, well, that would be the ticket to the moon, wouldn't it? Really, that would make a move like this look like a little dimple in its chart. Anyway, let's have a quick look at Bitcoin, see how we're going, and then I think we'll call it a night. So yeah, Bitcoin is doing all right for itself. You know, it is having a significant bounce from this area, but it'll be down again soon. There's no way it's going to make it to this is so far away. We are on the 4-hourly here, so we're looking at the lower time frames, but those moving averages are way too far away. This one a little bit more realistic, so there's a chance we could make it to 10,800 before we find a rejection and come back down again towards 10. We've tested 10 a couple of times now, so third time. Each one, this wick is longer than that wick. This next wick probably going to be longer than that. This is nothing more than a scalp in my book. People are scalping this, or naive people are buying it back, thinking that it's going to go, and this is its lowest value. I think that's quite naive to think that. I think we're going to go a lot further than that. I think when this breaks down, this wick will be broken. This wick it'll be longer than this wick, and it'll break beneath that Bollinger Band, and we'll probably come back down to around about 9,500 over this next week. We'll be trickling down. We've got lower lows, we've got lower highs, and all I can see is red. So it's not looking great. I do have volume on my chart. I've got my volume here, but I look at those things so frequently that I just prefer to look at the actual candlesticks, to be honest with you. I do use other indicators, but we've mapped out Bitcoin so frequently that we really don't need to look at those sort of things right now. Those sort of things are irrelevant at the moment. It's already playing itself out. We don't really need to even bother with that. It's just about supports and resistances at this point. Anyway, I appreciate you all tuning in, and we'll see how this goes. And I do make videos daily on Matic and BitTorrent token, and I'll take a few requests, or if there's something you want me to have a look at, I'm always keen, because I don't look at hardly any coins really. I have a handful that I study and I stick to. But if you got tips for me, then throw them my way. I'm happy to have a look at them. I'm always interested in coming up with some kind of strategy or plan, even if I don't intend to take it out myself. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll leave it there. And yeah, I hope you have a nice night, and we'll see how this Bitcoin business plays out tomorrow. All right, thanks a lot. Take it easy.